Hello and welcome to the video. This is a video all about timers and outputs and what they mean and why you should think about them if you are doing something a little bit sophisticated. That's because the majority of the time you don't need to worry about timers. The flight control software, whether that's INAV, ArduPilot, Betaflight, kind of takes care of all that for you. However, in more sophisticated setups where you're mixing things like motors and servos around on the outputs of something like this TBS all-in-one, or it could be a SpeedyBee, a Maytech flight controller, whatever it is that you have, even things like Pixhook style flight controllers, Cube Pilot Orange Plus, those kind of things. Any flight controller pretty much has some kind of timer output setup. Now, the vast majority of the time, you don't need to worry about it. But when you're getting into more complicated things like setting up VTOL or mixing and matching outputs to things like motors and servos and other things, you can get into trouble. So I want to talk about what timers are and how they work. Very simply, each one of the outputs has a little timer sat behind it, generating the pulses that synchronize all the stuff that goes out of that particular output. And that output could be connected to a servo, it could be connected to a motor. Modern motors use things like D-Shot, and they need a much higher data rate than old school PWM servos. And back in the very early days where all of the ESCs ran via PWM, we didn't need to worry about this, but in the modern world we kind of do. And that's why on something like a VTOL, where we might have up to 5 or more motors, 1 to fly with and maybe 4 lift motors, and then we might have another 5 or 6 servos, making sure that they are plugged in the right place is really important. Because if you set a timer on a flight controller as part of an output to run a servo, and then you plug a motor in it or vice versa, that isn't ideal. The other little hiccup, as we'll see in a minute, is that the number of timers is limited on a flight controller. So the way they tend to do it is they group the outputs in groups of 2 or 4, so that you will set the timer for servos, and then that means that all the outputs that that timer is connected to should be used for servo outputs. Hopefully that's not confused you completely. Let me plug this in. Let me show you on INAV, because actually INAV is really good these days at showing you how the outputs are grouped and how the timers are configured. So here we are on the desk in INAV 8, connected to that TBS Geppetto. It just happens to be the one that's handy for the demo for Paul. So one thing you may have noticed if you've been playing with INAV, and I really like the way that INAV expose the fact that we have timers. And again, probably don't ever bump into them if you've never really played with this stuff before. The cool thing is that it actually shows you the different timer outputs. So you can see that timer 3, we have a timer 4, and timer 5 is the way it's configured by default using the CLI from TBS. However, if you're playing with it yourself, you'll probably notice that this is timer 1, timer 2, etc. This is the custom configuration for their all-in-one flight controller, but actually it demonstrates the point great. Each of the timer outputs can be set to auto, motors, servos, or LED. Now, because in this particular configuration the first 2 outputs are for the servos, guess what? Timer 3, which corresponds to outputs 1 and 2, they tend to be grouped together, is actually for the servos. So they've been set to servos. Timer 5, which has actually been set up for all the other outputs, has been set to auto. I could set that to servos, but the software will kind of figure it out as I connect things up and configure outputs in here. It will kind of configure that stuff if you leave it to auto. Timer 4, which is way over here on output 7, is set for motors, and that's because that's where the motor ESC plugs in this particular flight controller. By default, you'd normally find that the first timer, which covers usually the first 2 outputs, is set for motors, and the rest are going to be set for servos or auto. So if you're playing with INAV, it gets really easy to see. So what does this mean? Well, this kind of explains, for those of you who've always wondered, why the first 2 outputs on a flight controller designed for a wing or a plane or a car or a boat in INAV are always reserved for the motor outputs. Why do we always have two? It seems to be a bit wasteful if you're only putting it in one particular plane. Well, this is why, is because the timers, as I said at the beginning, are not one-to-one relationship. So it's not like the output 1 has one timer connected to it, output 2 has a separate different connected to it. They're grouped together. So in this case, outputs S1 and S2 both have the same timer. So if I was doing this in a more traditional setup and set these two outputs for motor, which is more typical for INAV, even though if I'm only plugging one motor in, the other output is kind of set, the timer is running for that to be a motor. So that's the way we tend to do it. We tend to put our outputs for the motors on output 1, and it's set as a motor timer, typically, not in this particular instance. And then outputs 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. we use for servos, and we set the timer that runs those as servo. That makes perfect sense. It's just with the all-in-one here, you can see they've done it in a really unusual way, in that those first two outputs, because we're in a wing, are set as servo, and then the others are set for auto, although I'd probably use them for servos for other things. And then S7 way down here is set for motor 1. So if you are plugging things together in a more complicated setup, you need to have a look at how the outputs are grouped. And by looking at things like, if you're not using INAV, where it exposes it beautifully like this and actually color codes everything so you can see which timer corresponds to which output that you're plugging things into, you can actually look at the stuff in the ArduPilot documentation. That's really good at showing you this stuff as well. You can see here that it's actually showing you how the timers are grouped. And again, ArduPilot, you don't need to worry about that in terms of setting up which timer does what, but what it means is that if I'm setting up this plane, I'm going to make sure that my servos are going to be plugged into all of these outputs that are not set as a motor timer. So if, for example, I did have a more traditional setup where S1 and S2 are set for a motor timer, I wouldn't plug servo into output 2, I'd put it into output 3 and set that. Lots and lots of flight controllers have timers set in pairs, so just be aware of that and make sure when you're plugging in the servo, it's to an output that's connected to a timer set for servos, and when you're plugging in a motor, you're plugging it into an output that is configured as a motor timer. And again, most flight control software will figure this out, but it's just about making sure that you don't mix on something like this timer 5, try and mix things like D-shot motors and things like servos. It just gets really messy, and it's better to keep everything separate. It'll work a lot better. Thank you for watching my video. Check out the playlist, and adding Pedantry 60 to your search terms will help you find my content. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. You can support the time I spend here answering questions and helping others by using the links in the video description.